Welcome to another episode of Pistons of Fury. In this episode, I'm wrapping up the quarter panel bodywork on my 1966 Dodge Coronet station wagon. Alright, in this episode we have some more work to do on the station wagon. We've got to finish buttoning up my rear quarter panel. So that means doing some body filler stuff, making sure all the welds are fully sealed, protected, all that. Let's see, what else? Oh, and then maybe not in this specific order, but I want to start installing the rest of this gas filling situation. So I think what I'm going to do is that first, and then start tackling the body stuff, just because when I put the filler on, it's going to be pretty noxious, so I'm going to have to ventilate the garage and stuff, so I may want to take a break when I do that. Yeah, so first things first, we're going to prep this filler neck, get all the pipes put on, installed, pipes, hoses connected, then we're going to insert it in the rear of the tail light and go through the bottom and see how much we have to cut off and so on. So get ready. Alright, so this body filler is now kind of dry. So I've actually read that, or in my research and stuff, that you should actually try to sand it while it's still a little wet and not fully dry, because the longer it dries, the harder it gets, harder it is to sand, so the more work you have to do. And for the first time, I'm actually I've got this 6-block Durablock kit that you buy off Amazon. It's like $30 or something. I've never actually used these before, so this is actually kind of exciting. I always just kind of use scraps of wood or whatever I've had laying around. So stepping up the game in the body department. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. I put this adhesive back stuff. This is 180, I believe. 180, so that should hopefully take it down pretty fast and not take too long. But yeah, so it's gonna be some sanding. Doesn't make for great video content, but gotta do it, so may as well document it. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. Okay, so making decent progress, and I do want to point out that I am not an expert in this stuff. I've only actually done this a couple times, but from what I understand, it's just kind of an exercise in patience and lots of sanding, lots of reapplying, lots of sanding, and I guess you get better over time. So that's where we are. So you can see here I have some. So I've got a couple high spots right here, right here. I have a couple low spots where my sandpaper, the sanding block, isn't hitting the filler. So I think on my next pass of filler, I need to come in here and basically just fill in these high spots, or sorry, the low spots, and try to get this to even out. So over here, my sandpaper isn't really even hitting this guy here, here, and back here. So a little more sanding to do. Kind of got this wheel arch looking decent. Feels pretty good. I probably need another pass with some more paper. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna mix some filler, try to fill in these low spots, and then leave that to dry, and then I'll be back to do some more sanding. right, so that's where I'm going to call it for this episode. Unfortunately, I just don't have any more time, and I got to get this video out there so you guys can watch it. So I guess here's where I'm at. So didn't get the primer this episode, obviously, as you can see here. But let me start, I guess, back here, and we will take a look at what got done. So this section right here, I've already sanded it down once. This is the second coat of filler. It's just drying now. But basically I was able to get that flush, made that little patch panel. That's all good. So this layer of filler that I have on here will basically bring it up to level with the multiple layers of paint and the existing light layer of filler that was on there. So that should be all good. That's all buttoned up. That was a result of the same issue with the mud and the rain and everything slinging, so it did hit that. This patch panel, it kind of starts, I want to say, like right in there, but the fact that I can't tell is actually a really good thing. That means I did it right. So if you remember, if you watched the third video, basically my weld seam was right here, right along that line, and so I just came back after I grinded that down and added some more filler in here, so that's looking really smooth, kind of kept that stock contour. And then moving on to here, the other big challenge with this patch panel was just because my weld seam was all along here, all the way back, just kind of getting filler in there and making it smooth. So it is pretty smooth right now. I need to come through and probably do just another light sand, and then especially here on the top of this. So this is kind of a contoured, so that actually that curved sanding block that I have really does a good job with that. So moving up here, this is where the filler patch was. So it turned out that the bottom of the filler was actually a little bit of a low spot, and the top of the filler was actually a bit of a high spot. So I've got another layer of filler on here that I need to sand off tomorrow, and see how close I can get it. I've got some high spots here, here. I think there's another one here, and then here, as you can kind of see with the paint. So I have some figuring out I need to do up there, but I'll get it worked out with another coat or two of filler. And then finally, did that last patch panel down here. I have another coat of filler on top, and when I come through here with sandpaper, this contour will just kind of appear as stock. But what happens here is the bumper kind of sits right here, so you really don't even see any of this. So I'm just going to get it pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect, and yeah, that's that. So what's coming up next in terms of content? Let's see, I need to finish all this stuff up. I got to prime this, but I'm actually working on multiple episodes right now at the same time, which is kind of nuts. So I've got this going on, and then I have my LED taillight conversion that I'm doing, and then I also have my fuel filler neck. All related, but all kind of separate projects. So I'm just kind of chunking those out into different episodes. So I need to figure out what I'm doing next, and yeah, so the next video I think is going to be the fuel filler wrap up. So I'm going to get all that reconnected, and then I will go back to the taillight conversion and the trapdoor hinge thing behind the taillight. Then following that, I mean, just to give you guys like a preview, so I then need to rebuild the carburetor, put it back on the car, turn the car around, get it oriented for engine swapping time, and then following that, a little sneak peek back here, I have a Buell Blast motorcycle that hasn't run in a little, I mean it runs, but it has a bad ignition module, and I actually found one really cheap on eBay, so I pulled the trigger on that. So I'm gonna get that bike running. That should only take like one episode, and the goal is basically just to take that up to my parents' house here in town, and then start to clear out this whole area back here, because this is kind of gonna be my engine and transmission and everything swap zone, and that's where a lot of stuff's gonna live. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point. That's it for now, but that's the upcoming schedule of episodes and things. So thank you so much for watching. Throw me a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because I know a bunch of you guys are watching these and not subscribing, like every other YouTube channel, and I do the same thing. So I don't blame you. Anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you next week.